If music is a universal language, it's being spoken in new ways at Purdue University, Fort Wayne. Enrollment is growing with programs in popular music, music industry, and music technology. Groundbreaking for a new music industry building is also planned. And we'll discuss what Purdue University Fort Wayne is doing to help Fort Wayne move closer to being a top 10 music city on this week's PrimeTime. And good evening, I'm Bruce Haines, and with us today is John O'Connell. He is Dean of the College of Visual and Performing Arts at Purdue Fort Wayne. And with John is John Buteyn, who is Clinical Assistant Professor of Music and Director of Popular Music, Music Industry, and Music Technology programs at Purdue Fort Wayne. And welcome, Johns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me ask you both, start with you, John. What's it been like to blaze these trails?
Oh, it's been exciting. I like a good challenge. I like to build things. And so the idea of these new programs that needed energy and already had some significant growth, but wanted to take it to the next level, I've loved it. And so I'm headed into my 5th year and really excited about the
nice thing is that our administration is really behind it. They understand that we're coming upon a time when enrollment's going to be difficult for Midwest colleges, and so you have to have signature programs, right? Programs that make you stand out. And that's what we decided in 2018 would be for Purdue Fort Wayne. So since John arrived, we've added almost three other full-time people that he's hired because our program has gone from 30 to
almost 150.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's the driver behind this from the student standpoint? Is it something that's fitting the millennium now, would you say, as far as interests and opportunities?
Yeah, I think it is. It's and the way we have the degrees structured, where, you know, if you're a music industry major, you can still do some music technology classes if you add the music technology minor. If you're a commercial music, popular music student, you still get some industry courses. We're preparing students in these degrees to be very well-rounded and prepared to tackle just about any job that might present to them at some point in their future, right, in the music industry.
Sort of COVID was part of this was a result of COVID as well. But our students were coming to us at that time having recorded in their basement, right? They've got gadgets in their basement, they've got computers, they've got computer programs where they were already doing this kind of work before they got here. So they kind of told us, like, I don't want to sing opera. Nothing against opera. We have a beautiful opera program. We have a beautiful choral program. But they were telling us, I want to do popular music because I want to work in a rock band. I want to be in a country band. But I also want to have a college degree.
Wow. And so we're seeing shots of student life, if you will, out there on US 30 in the Sweetwater Tech Center space. That's because the space on campus is in the act of becoming everything that on paper it expects to be.
Right.
How and before we get to the building, though, I do want to ask about background to this BSM in music industry degree, a BSM in popular music, music technologies, Bachelor of
Science
in music, and then with the specialization.
Yes. And so the music technology is the only one that's slightly different. That is a Bachelor of Music. Really, that boils down to our School of Music accrediting and the type of degrees that we can offer. With a BSM degree, we have the ability to offer more variety within the degree. And so that's how we've been able to do some of the things that we've done by making it less of a traditional music degree and giving them a little bit more freedom to take this or to do that concentration or take a minor in this. So there's a few more electives
I saw a dual degree is also offered, I believe. The opportunity to, and I have it in notes that will come to me eventually.
No, it's probably as an outside field.
But outside
so
field,
it's,
yes.
outside field. So that's a degree that's been around for a while. So we might have a psychology major who wants to also have a degree in music, so it's called music with an outside field. Mm-hmm. So they're getting a music degree and a psychology degree, or perhaps an education degree. So it's called music with an outside field. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there is a building coming. When did you first get the sense that the existing walls, even with Sweetwater's assistance, were starting to bulge a little?
My first day on the job, I think.
Sounds like a made-for-TV movie coming out of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I have a bigger studio, Dean O'Connell? That's what. Yeah. Nice to meet you, Mr. Buteyn. Let's get a bigger studio. So, the building that was renovated for us on the campus of Sweetwater is a lease. We didn't buy the building; it's their building. Okay. So all along, we have known that it wasn't for eternity. Chuck Surek, who was kind enough to renovate that building for us, told us how long our contract was. So we've known that we've had to get out by a certain time. But we didn't realize that the need for it would grow so quickly. It really has. We've just outgrown the space completely. So yeah. So I had a meeting with Mr. Surek, and he said, the time's, the clock's a ticking. And I said, yes, it is, Chuck. And he said, what's your plan? I said, well, I don't have a penny in my pocket. And he said, well, if we put a penny in your pocket, can we get started? So he gave us a lead gift that got us rolling for some significant fundraising. Wow. Significant fundraising.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And there had also then been the planning, the conversations with the design teams, architects, a variety of outside.
That has been going on every 2 weeks.
Since last summer, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, yep. Yeah, and really, kudos to John. I just got to tell you, I hired the right guy. Because the amount of advanced equipment that's necessary for this new building. So just so everyone knows, we're building a $25 million new building on our campus. It's a music industry building that has multiple studio spaces, has a smart classroom, a conference room, a 3,000 square foot rehearsal hall, and a live rehearsal hall for the pop music students. It's pretty amazing. But we've been meeting every 2 weeks since last summer.
Wow. And we have a tour we can take of sorts through various images that have been shared going in. This, while hard to read for us, might be easier for you to read it at home. But the different colors kind of segmenting out, in fact,
yes, and
there's
John
a lot
can
of
tell you,
multitasking
John can tell you what, that's a floor plan for the first floor.
Okay.
So.
Yep. And all the yellow that you see there is all studio spaces. And the design has actually changed a little bit since this rendition, but we're mostly there. The blue spaces are what we would call edit and production suites, and so those can be booked out by students with laptops and whatnot. And so we've got on the second floor, conference room, more production suites, offices. So it's really going to be a stellar facility.
And this is it from the outside.
There it is.
And
isn't it beautiful?
Is adjacent to?
So it's not adjacent, it is next to. It has a walking bridge on the second floor. It turns out that all the utilities for the north side of campus are buried right behind the music building. You see there's a bridge on the second floor.
Okay.
We couldn't connect it because all of the utilities are underground and the cost of moving all of that was astronomical. So why don't we just move it 50 feet off of there and put a bridge? There's the lobby. Mm-hmm. And that's the classroom on the first floor, and that's the conference room on the second floor. Mm-hmm. There's our 3,000 square foot new rehearsal hall, state of the art.
Yep.
And there are several perspectives, and it's great to see where the sound carries. The sound all has to go somewhere.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Yep. And so that would be our primary studio, our Studio A, the largest one. We would use that for teaching a lot of the recording and music technology classes. That's just kind of a different angle of that. And then that would be our commercial music ensemble rehearsal space, kind of designed to look like a club where you might, show up to see one of these bands play.
Perform. And have fake wine.
Yeah, right.
That's right. Had this been an actual concert.
Just another shot of the studio. We're trying to like include nice university colors, but also just vibrant colors in these spaces. Make it feel like you're walking into a creative and energizing space where you want to create something beautiful.
And you have to have an Oriental rug.
Somewhere.
I think that
Every studio has one.
in the
doesn't it?
job description to do that. Timeline.
We are opening on fall of 26. So this is two falls from now, we'll have that class will be moving in there. So.
Well, 2 years.
But we have to keep recruiting, so I don't really know where, as we get more students and we fill that space up, it's going to be challenging for John to still be at Sweetwater. But we're very excited.
And we have, I think, there's September ceremonial groundbreaking and
September
such that might
10th,
be.
come on out. There's a groundbreaking. John's students will be playing some live music for us,
The opportunity for all of this, too, we said at the Open, was a way for the university, along with others, also trying to answer this question of how to get Fort Wayne out there as a either top 10 music city or something that's truly accentuating all of the musical assets of the region. When that kind of thing comes up in conversation, let me ask you both, start with you, John. What's your responses to something like that?
My response to that is this program will be a feeder program for top 10 in music industry city. I mean, we have a program, we have a building like no other in the country. Literally nobody has this on their campus. And John can talk about it, but we have our own record label, Gold Top Records, that he created when he got here after some walking orders. And it's been hugely successful. And we're the only one in the country with a student-run record label that's as successful as that is. So we're already feeding by having a student-run record label and having all of these students graduating in Northeast Indiana to feed the music industry. So that's my response.
It's I'm glad you brought up the Gold Top record label, because that actually, I think, ties in how we're reaching out into the Fort Wayne and beyond. I think Gold Top is one of my program's best recruiting tools. This summer alone, we partnered with Downtown Fort Wayne to do a series of 4 concerts, part of the Downtown Live series. So that was a really exciting just kind of boost to both Gold Top, but to be able to feed into Fort Wayne's music scene and bring musicians from our programs and from our label that are signed artists out. So I think the future that this building and these programs have for making Fort Wayne one of the top cities, I think it's critical. It's going to be crucial in that.
What are some of the position titles or the capacities of the crew needed to pull off this kind of level of production recording and such, for which a student could look at that rundown and say, I could do this, I might try to study to do that. If the band is doing a remote, I now know which end of the cable goes where, or and a whole lot more with post-production,
Right.
And they all say, we'll fix it, we'll edit it, we'll sweeten it, whatever it may be. That takes time, that takes experience.
Yeah, it takes time and it takes practice. I mean, we get them, our studio music tech students, they jump in their very first semester into the studio, and they don't leave the studio until they graduate. And at first, they might be a little timid of all the gear and the gadgets and the knobs, right? They see all this big fancy equipment, but by the time they leave, they know how every single thing in there operates, and it's hard to get them to leave at that point. It's like, you got to graduate.
One of the pieces of equipment that we're ordering for the new building, John has been in conversation, because it's going to be designed for our program. It's being built, and it's
Yes.
too many hundred thousands of dollars just for that piece of equipment. Not too many, appropriate, but they're building it based on what he says we need it to do. So it's going to be, it's pretty unique.
So the capabilities that you're looking forward to seeing students experience, those aha moments that they bump into along the way, talk about a couple of those.
Oh,
Maybe you've
yeah.
seen them already, certainly, in the work that's been done.
Yeah, I think I see that a lot in the studio, because that's kind of my area of teaching, is when you're producing or walking through how you capture a sound a certain way, and how maybe just slight adjustments in a microphone is going to make or break that, how you capture that sound. And just these real life examples, Gold Top is another one. So like what we do in the studio, what we do with Gold Top, where students are like, wait a minute, like that's how that works. Like that's how we're gonna market, or that's how we're gonna brand this artist. And that is super critical in this artist becoming successful, right? And so, I mean, those are just some of the things we do. Gold Top, we do a lot of playlisting and publishing. We have our own publishing branch. So students in Gold Top specifically, they can take, and this is the beautiful thing about it, is they can take what they're learning in the classroom, and then they can bring it into this real business, this real label where there's money at stake, there's people's art and, albums, their careers are at stake. And so real things are tied to it. And so they're able to make these decisions and from what they've learned in class, and seeing them make the right decision and even sometimes the wrong decision, right? Like, because we all do that. Those are the aha moments. That's when they say,
I think some of the other aha moments, though, that I've seen is that the popular music students have a concert twice a semester. That's quite large. They had it out of the Sweetwater Theater, mostly at the Sweetwater Theater, but I've been to it, and it is a rock and roll concert of students that have put themselves together because they're in school together, right? They're like, oh, well, you're a bass player and I'm a singer and I'm gonna play the guitar and I'm gonna play the piano and drums. And so we have, I don't know how many groups of them, but I've gone to, and sometimes you've had 8 to 10 bands on an evening, and sometimes you've had 2 evenings because there's so many bands that want to play. And those bands were mostly created out of students, finding each other's strengths in our program. That's an aha moment for them to go, wow, we can create a band because we all have something, in common. I think that's fantastic.
Well, the skills are resume ready too, because you're using equipment that's also out there in actual studios of note, literally across the country and around the world, and people can say, I can drive that car. If you give me a chance, I can make this work.
Right.
And I'm imagining too the synergies of that also play well across the college with those that continue to come to campus to pursue theater and therapy and so forth, that this is helping to be a business model for students, but it's also a business model for getting a couple extra welcome mats out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are a busy college. We produce over 144 events a year. We have a full theater season every year, 5 shows this year. We have an incredible number of guest artists. I don't know how we're paying for all of them, but I just saw the list of guest artists that are coming for fall semester in the School of Music. I really encourage people to come out to that and look up our event schedule, because we have 2 different piano players. We're doing something with the Hispanic Month with some people coming from South America. So we're really busy. The thing about being on campus with this new building also is that, just what you just said, we have music therapy, we have music performance, we have music education. All those people also want to be recording as well. You know what? Most of them are performers themselves. They want to be recording. They don't have access to that right now at Sweetwater because it's 6 miles away and they're not in the program. Now it's going to be across the bridge, right? They will be able to use those edit booths if they've been taught how to use them. They'll be able to take those classes. So we're opening up this facility now to the other 250 students in the music program.
Yeah. Talent attraction, talent retention, and things beyond which, within the recording industry, because musicians have It's more than just the garage setup,
Right.
or the basement setup.
Yeah.
But there is a level of sophistication that we're all starting to tune our ears for when we listen to music, and being able to respond to that and realize I'm getting an education and a career simultaneously is a real upside.
And our job as scholars is to stay ahead of the industry, right? We have to send our students out with the best and most current knowledge. So we have to have instrumentation, we have to have hardware, we have to have software that is cutting edge, so that when they go out into the industry, they're not behind the eight ball. They have to be ahead of the eight ball. They have to be the ones people look to know what's current.
What is or are a couple of those top of mind things that would be current for the season to come on campus with, say, theater music?
We have a play starting in September called The Catastrophist that's directed by Jeff Casaza. It's a science play, which I find very interesting. That's a science play. It was a one-person play that he has divided into 5 actors, and it's about the origins of the pandemic, actually. It's based on a true story of a scientist who has some philosophies of the origins of the pandemic. So that's kind of interesting, yeah. And then our second show of the season is probably one of the most popular musicals ever, Cabaret. I'm really looking forward to that. That hasn't been cast yet. At the end of the season, we have our 24-hour play where actors and directors and designers all get together, and in 24 hours they create 4 plays. Yeah, I know. Bruce is thinking, what is it, 1985?
Sounds like finals week. We need this by when?
Yeah. So that's happening, and our gallery has an incredible show up right now, a photography show by Brian Och. He traveled with Prince. He traveled with U2. He lives in Fort Wayne now. He lived in New York for many, many years, and we have his show is up in our gallery right now of photography. His story is very interesting too. So we have a lot going on. And then again, the list of visitors is for fall for the School of Music is great. Yeah.
And of course, the annual collaboration between the station and the School of Music with the Home for the Holidays concert in December, which will be here in about 10 minutes.
The first Monday in December.
That's right.
Yes, our largest and most popular concert.
Find out more, as they say. You can do that online. pfw.edu/VPA is the shortest shortcut to get to not only the website, but also to find out more about our special guests. And there's information too on goldtoprecords.com. John Buteyn, Clinical Assistant Professor of Music and Director of Popular Music, Music Industry, Music Technology Programs at Purdue Fort Wayne. John O'Connell, the Dean of the College of Visual and Performing Arts at Purdue Fort Wayne. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce.
And likewise, thank you for allowing us to be a part of your day. I'm Bruce Haines. Take care. We'll see you soon. Good night.